You guys can hear me. I don't need this, right? You guys can hear me? Yeah? Oh, is this better? So, yeah, so we were counting down the weeks to CoCo Fest 26. And we did a couple of live streams. We were just kind of looking at the website, looking at the speaker schedule, at the vendor schedule, just talking. For us who have been coming here now for the past few years, I always looked at like the month before CoCo Fest was kind of like your Christmas Eve, and CoCo Fest was like our Christmas, so you get all those Christmas Eve jitters. So we started a few weeks before CoCo Fest just doing an impromptu live broadcast talking about what we were excited about, what we were looking for at the two next to happen CoCo Fest. So that's how the show started, and it was really meant to be a few weeks. And we figured maybe we would get 1 or 2 more weeks after the fact where we could have a few follow-up discussions on CoCo Fest, and then we'd run out of gas, and maybe next year we'd do it again. There was no plans, there's no thoughts. That was March of 2017 when we did that. And here we are now, 236 episodes, 4 years. We do a show every single Saturday. An average show is 3 hours. Some shows are 4 to 6 hours. What started off as just a wing and a prayer with no clue, no structure, no plan. That hasn't changed much anyways. But we're still here, and I think what we do now every single week, and you guys have seen a sample of it for the past few hours, there's a bunch of people and we get together. And even though CoCo Fest is only once a year, and you got to fly or drive and get here, so not everybody can be here in person, the internet allows us to meet together virtually. And so we've been meeting together virtually on a weekly, if not daily basis. And I've been in the community now full-time for 5 years. And I've seen a lot of growth in the community, and I just think it's the internet. The world's gotten smaller or bigger, and the community's gotten bigger, the world's gotten smaller, however you look at it. So I just figured since typically our show is all virtual and our audience is all virtual, it'd be kind of neat to have an in-person CoCoTALK. So that was the basic premise of that. With that, I'll hand it over. So I started the show. I'm Steve Strowbridge. I started the show. I've been mostly hosting the show for a long time. But the show has gotten bigger, and my schedule hasn't always been able to host it all the time. So our backup streamer and engineer, Mark Bosley, I'll hand this over to you.
Gee, thanks. Now what?
I don't know. I just made up a bunch of crap. It's your turn. So, yeah.
I just push the buttons when you can't.
Okay. But I think what we wanted to talk about was how have we seen the community grow and our community collaboration, right? How have we seen the community collaborate over the past few years that we've been doing our show?
I just push the buttons when you can't.
Pass.
I started getting involved with CoCoTALK show basically because, I would say something in the chat, and I was like, a minute or two behind what they were talking about because there's a bit of a lag in the chat. So, and then Stevie's always saying, hey, everybody's welcome. There's no special anything that you need to be part of the show. Just join and be part of the show. And so that's when I started, joining the panel, and I just try to give everybody a hard time and contribute what I can when I can, and that's all there is.
Yeah, my name is Grant Leedy. I am the backup streamer to the backup. So I pretty much do the streaming whenever Stevie or Mark B can't stream. I've been on CoCoTALK, I think, since episode 5 or 6, I believe. Yeah, yep, that's true as well. So I've been on it for quite some time. I take a little hiatus during the springtime because I have another hobby. I go storm chasing, tornadoes and stuff in Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas and New Mexico. So exactly, I go to Oklahoma City all the time to see his house. But no, I say over the years, the community has definitely grown over the years. Because I think the first CoCo Fest I went to back in 2006, 2007, way back when we were in Elgin, there was probably about 40 or 50 people that showed up. Then I took a break and then came back when CoCoTALK came back on and I met Stevie in person. And then I would say probably that CoCo Fest, we were probably around 60 or 70. And then the largest one was back in 2019. We had over 120 people at a fest. So, and then of course COVID happened, and then everything went to hell in a handbasket. So, but yeah. So But no, I've always had a good time. I think the community's gotten stronger and it's grown. It's gotten larger, and we see things get produced like this all the time. People come up with amazing new things for the CoCo. A lot of games, so it's a lot of fun stuff coming out. Yeah, let's don't forget the Nightmare Highway. All right, I'll give it over here to you, sir.
Hi, I'm Rick. I was active in the CoCo community in the mid-90s. Mid-90s? Okay. And then I got a day job with computers, and I just couldn't work computers as a hobby. And then I ran into CoCoTALK. I had no idea there was still a community or CoCo people at all. So I've been on the show about a year and a half accidentally. I only wanted to be there twice, and I'm still here. And yeah, that's my story. I'm addicted now. So.
Hello, I'm Mark Oberholzer. I am the Apple guy. I've been doing Apple a long time. CoCo only since 2012. And I got a CoCo 3 that I got along with Apple IIe Platinum and decided to keep it. And now I've got 2 CoCo 3s and 2 CoCo 1s and 4 CoCo 2s and a Tano Dragon and a bunch of MPIs. And anyway, hi there. I've been on CoCoTALK since episode 1. And I couldn't go to that particular CoCo Fest. I think it was 2017. I think it's 2017, yeah. Okay. And so we were going to do a run-up. It was like 8 weeks and promote, and it was really great, and I was really bummed. And the next year I was able to go because my fiancé at the time helped pave my way. Anyway, so I've been to the last, this will be the third one I've been to in a row, not including the ones they canceled. And what else? Yeah, as far as like the community, we keep seeing, we promote our Discord. Well, it's not really CoCoTALK's Discord, but it's one we hang out on. Keep seeing people every week that come, more people coming back. There are so many people's stories, they're surprised that I went to look about, my CoCo that I had when I was young, and wow, there's a Facebook group, and there's a community, and there's this monthly podcast, and there's this weekly talk show, and people are making games and hardware. And it's just, anyway, it's just really thrilling to see people coming back and that we have something. And anyway.
Hey, look who just came in the room. It's that idiot that plays that game, Dungeons & Dragons.
Plays the present. What? Hi, everybody. I'm Jason Reichardt, a.k.a. CoCo Man. I started out in 1984, I believe it was. Christmas '84, we got our first CoCo. Upper here? There we go. There we go. 1984 Christmas, we got our CoCo, and ended up attending events, I think, into like 2000 was my first 99 and 2000 at PennFest was my first events until CoCo Fest here 3 CoCo Fests ago. But anyway, it's okay. And I think back in the 90s, I did have some things published through what was it, Farnham Systems. What was the magazine he had? The World of 68 Micros, and I think I sold a program to TND back then, but of course now I think I'm just the person that runs the jokes into the ground. I have my $5 ukulele, and of course I just found out about this panel like last minute. I think they were trying to keep me out, huh? Didn't want, but anyway. And of course now I built a bunch of Australian-themed hardware that was also just a bad joke that's gotten away from me. But hey, it's. Oh, my brother Ken? Oh, that's with Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway. But having a lot of fun. This is my 3rd CoCo Fest, so no, this is only my 3rd in a row. Well, yeah, well, who's counting though? But anyway, and of course, the CoComan.biz website and all that hardware, and it's out there in the other room, but. I think that's all I have. I'm just, I have my visor. Mark told me to bring my visor. All right, Sloopy.
Oh, this isn't a real show. I don't get to sleep.
You had to hang on.
Hi, I'm Sloopy. Some of you heard nasty rumor going around that some people call me Chris Lucky, which it is. I've only been involved with the CoCo very recently. I got my first CoCo 3 about 10, 11 years ago because of the Donkey Kong transcode that was released back then. And about a little over a year ago, I started playing with my CoCo 3 again and found this gang of motley fools and joined them. And I've been involved in the show. It'll be a year in January. And yeah. And I'm the one who does the timestamps on the episodes. So yeah, so someone please actually look at the timestamps. Oh, good. Yeah. Hey, that's that's against my union. No, you're not allowed to say you don't know about them. But yeah, and just recently, CoCoTALK has gotten so big that it actually started another spin-off show, the CoCoTALK Game On Challenge Live, which we air every Wednesday from 7 until between 10 and 11, and I'm the host of that. And hopefully we will continue to grow that into another major force in the CoCoTALK community.
Who here has not seen our show? Who's in the room? Has anybody here not seen CoCoTALK? No, I'm being serious. I'm serious. Some of you might be sitting here just to. Everybody seen the show? And you're still sitting here.
We're sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good for sleeping.
So just talking about community. So Sloopy hasn't had a CoCo that long, hasn't been in the community that long, but he came in and he's got two products that he released. He has Drive Wireless, which is a piece of hardware that goes in the CoCo that goes underneath the DAC, is it? I'm not a hardware guy. And it allows you to wirelessly join DriveWire from your CoCo on real hardware. And then he came up with a little 2-ROM socket thingy where you can actually boot to HDB DOS and have DriveWire booting on your CoCo. So you can turn on a CoCo with nothing in your cartridge port and have DriveWire client and Drive wirelessly connected. And this is a guy who's new to the community. So this is the testament to how the community has grown. This guy just falls out of the apple tree into our community, and he's given us two products. You know what I mean? Or in his case, the Atari tree. He fell out of the Atari tree into the CoCo community, gave us two products. Now, I wish the guys on Zoom could be here, too. So Curtis Boyle has been the kind of our news anchor forever. Curtis Boyle was the first guy that I interviewed, and it was kind of and then, of course, legendary game designer Rick Adams was the second interview that we had. But it was kind of a series of events from me making CoCo game YouTube videos to doing a couple of isolated one-off interviews to then doing a live interview. We had a live interview with Rick Adams, which I was like starstruck. Man, game designer, celebrity, woo, this is awesome, right? Promised Land. And then Dale Lear was our second big so we had done a few of these live interviews that were kind of onesie-twosies, but having done that a few times in the past, we had the tools in place to try to do this impromptu CoCoTALK. Well, let's just do a live stream and let's just get together. Let's just start talking about CoCo Fest. And I'm going to rewind back to 2015 when I joined the community. I joined maybe I was abducted into the community, I'm not sure, but I started doing videos on YouTube because I was doing Minecraft videos with my kids, and I'm like, well, I'm going to make the videos they want to make, but I'm going to make the videos that I want to make too, and I started doing CoCo game videos. That's how I discovered the community. When that had happened, 2015, the community wasn't as big or as tight as it was. There wasn't a lot of. It was somewhat dark. There was a couple of shining beacons. So one of those beacons was the CoCo Crew podcast. They doing a month. Basically, when CoCo Crew podcast first started, it was a monthly infomercial for CoCo Fest, because once a month they would come out, they would talk about the community, they talk about news, and they're like, you got to come to CoCo Fest. And I'm like, what the hell is a CoCo Fest? But month after month after month, they're like, you got to come to CoCo Fest, you got to come to CoCo Fest. And then, so I came to my first CoCo Fest, which was the 25th annual CoCo Fest. And then I got addicted. I'm like, wow, the CoCo Fest is really cool, right? And then ever since then, the momentum of because we're doing things on the internet, and now there's a monthly podcast, and we've got weekly talk shows, and we've got all these things. The more you put out, the more the snowball grows. So the the public awareness of the community and the CoCo and CoCo Fest continues to grow. And the things that we've done and seen in these past 4 years, I can't even remember it. But just last weekend, we had a 4-hour interview with Mark Siegel, who was the product manager for the color computer. You know, the week before that, we did the MC10 special. We talked about that. A couple weeks before that, we did a 6-hour special on the Dragon community, learning about that. So the things, you know, the focus of this is bringing the community together. Have you guys heard of the hashtag Septandy movement, where people do in the month of September, they do Tandy videos? So it was last Septandy, Curtis found all these people and started showcasing all their videos. And we're showing off all these Septandy videos in the news. And then all these guys, and we said, hey, we're going to show you in the news. Come watch our show. And then they started coming to the show, and so we've got a guy making Color Computer 2 motherboards, right? Pedro Pena, Rocky Hill. We have brand new CoCo 2 motherboard replacements that you can get now, CoCo 3 motherboards. AC's 8-bit zone is making all kinds of video adapters. So these guys that we found that did a video, we say, hey, man, you're not the only crazy person. There's hundreds of us crazy people. We bring them in, and they join the insanity, and then we get all these products. We get hardware, we get software. So I think that's been what I've seen continue to happen month after month, year after year. I'll shut up now, and I'll pass this back around.
One thing I did want to mention was one of the things that drew me to CoCoTALK was I would see people like Steve Bjork or our very own Rick Adams, who's present right now, author of Temple of Ram and Shanghai and Bomb Threat. And these are names that I saw, you know, years ago, and here they are. They're, you know, part of this group of guys getting interviewed, and Stevie saying, you know, come on board. So it was great to be able to talk to these people and get to meet them in person, as in the case of Rick. And yeah, names you saw in Rainbow or in Radio Shack when you went to go buy a cartridge. You didn't necessarily see their name there, but you heard about their names through like Rainbow Magazine and things like that, yeah. So, and that's one of the things that drew me to CoCoTALK, because it just seemed like a lot of fun to be able to, you know, get to know the people that wrote a lot of the software you used to play around with when you were a kid, and so that's all I want to say.
Yes, sir. You know Terry Steen here? Yeah. Terry Steen. Oh.
We were inspired by CoCo Fest. I hope that we embody the spirit of CoCo Fest every week. If you guys could say watching CoCo Talk on a Saturday is like being at a CoCo Fest, to me, mission accomplished. So if we've captured that spirit virtually, but it's like being here physically, that's our goal. And hopefully we have done that for you. I hope we have.
Except we can't go to Portello's for
We can't go to Portello's, yeah.
So your game was Balloon Fire, right?
Balloon Fire, Terry Steen, available to play on the floor right now.
What about Gray Lady?
What?
Gray Lady.
Gray Lady.
And then my wife found this Pac-Man in there.
Stevie, let's say you probably need to talk about the guys on Zoom. Like, don't forget Nick Marentes, Nick Marotta, and all them. So you might want to hear.
Well, you just did. So say it some more. Yeah. Well, there's yeah. I don't want to. This is not my show. Yeah. There's a lot of people who we can't have with us right now because of the echo in the room. But like I said, the guys who've been virtually here today, Nick Marentes, Boyle, Fiscarelli, Thayer. That presentation you guys saw on the tools and how they're developing things. All of these things are happening. Give him the mic. They can't hear you. Like that perfect example, that last presentation of the game development tools, and Rick Adams, right? So Rick Adams' game Bomb Threat, it happened because we had started a Skype channel for CoCoTALK, and Rick started talking about, oh, how do I do this and how to do that, and all those conversations, these sidebar conversations that were happening between the show is what happened to get Rick to rebuild his game, right? So all these happy little accidents, to quote Bob Ross, have been happening because we've been just getting together and talking and collaborating, and that connective community spirit continues to happen. So things continue to happen. Games are getting developed. Hardware is being made. We're reaching out to new people in the community that didn't know there was a show or a CoCo Fest, and just keeps happening, and it's really cool, right? And so that last presentation, which we can't have them on screen right now, but you know, Nick Marentes, and I remember like I would be doing a live stream playing a game, and then Nick Marentes would be in the chat on YouTube saying, hey, do this, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was like, oh my God, I'm playing the game, and the guy who made the game is here watching me play the game, and he's chatting with me. Pinch me, right? Is this a dream? Am I going to wake up? All these things have happened, but these are like all our best friends, and they're here every day, and we're just shooting the breeze. So, yeah, I think the CoCo community has been about collaboration and community and all that connectivity type stuff. But there's so many examples. You've just given a few, but yeah. Oh.
I would say we need to probably talk about some bloopers on this show that we have discussed yet.
What, like a live stream?
That would be me. I had live streamed on the show. Accidentally forgot to mute the mic when I went to the bathroom. God help us.
We'll get you.
Don't forget. Let's not forget about Stevie's rage quit.
Push the big red button.
We had what's now known as the EMP. One time we had a very large flatulent sound that happened over the air. That is now just known as the EMP. That was a good one. Hey, you're doing a live show. What's going to happen, right? So, what else?
Well, we have the disclaimer at the beginning. Elevator.
Was that live?
No, but it was part of it.
So for you guys who've been around watching the show, what have you guys seen that you've seen grow in the community? Yeah, you want to come up here? Or you want
Trying, yeah. Yeah, so just, is that working? I can't hear it. Can you hear me? Anybody? No? I think I'm too far.
Try this one.
Hello? Got me? Okay. So anyway, all I want to say, just kind of talking about what these guys are talking about. So I just want to say for anybody that's out there, anybody in the room that's thinking about making hardware, making software, anything like that. I mean, the ability to reach out and touch people who can help you it's incredible. So, I mean, this guy here put a demo online of software, Rick Adams, that became the basis for the game, well, part of the game that I'm making right now. So, yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My name is Jay Searle. And then I've also Discorded with Rick, asked questions to Rick. I mean, this is a guy who's written software when I was like, I could barely write BASIC, and he's there to help us out. So, you can go out and touch, get in touch with people like L. Curtis Boyle. That guy is amazing when it comes to assembly code. And he's just a chat away. So if you have any kind of ambitions about doing anything like that, definitely get involved in the community, get on Discord, and just reach out to people. I think there's very few people I've ever reached out to that either said no or didn't respond. So take advantage of it if that's something that interests you. That's all I got.
I can kind of touch more on the whole community aspect as far as my experiences with hardware. I can hear myself on YouTube, so lost the PA, but okay. They can hear me out there in YouTube land. So as far as a lot of there it is. Hey, there we go. A lot of the ideas I had for products were suggestions from the community. Hey, can you make this? Can you make an extension cable? I mean, it all really started with, just making the switcheroo for my brothers. Like, he wanted to get back into the CoCo. He wanted, he's like, do you have a spare CM8? No, unfortunately, I don't. I have a spare CoCo 3 you can have, and I had read about the open source SCART RGB project and of course improved on it and just made it kind of as a one-off for myself and my brother, and people started asking, hey, are you going to make that? I said, I don't know, maybe. And then I had some, we were on our Discord server, which is a great resource. And we would have something, somebody's like, are you going to sell that? I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll go ahead and sell it. I'll call it a switcheroo, and I'll stick a picture of a kangaroo on it. And it stuck.
Because Australian-themed products.
Yeah, now they're all Australian-inspired. I've gotten so many messages at people asking me, are you in Australia? I had to put on my website, Australian-inspired products from the USA to avoid that whole thing. But it's just I continue to go. You got the Joey, you got the Wallaby, the Kookaburra. I thought Kookaburra sounded better, but I was told by several Australians that it's Kookaburra. But you have a real Porsche? I don't have a real Porsche or a toy car Porsche.
So that proves you're not an Australian.
I'm not an Australian. No. Even though the drive wire cables are crikey cables, I had some Australian style licorice here earlier, but I don't know what.
How about a VW there,
where
Jason?
it has gone, but great input from the community.
And speaking of Australians, Nick Marentes, we can't hear you, but I just want to say, since I wasn't able to see you here, I drove by the Porsche dealership just for you.
No, it's Ferrari dealership.
Yeah, Mark was with me, so he can verify.
I can vouch. There was also Land Rover and Jaguar too, but the Ferrari one caught our eye.
And Land Rover.
I was going to add about Discord. You know, it's like everybody has Facebook. Well, like 1 person in 5 in the world has Facebook. But it's a real hard place to, I don't check it every day. It's too much going on. But Discord is great. You know, there's an app that runs on your phone and all the major operating systems, and you can check in. And like I said, we have all kinds of smart people there who will answer your questions. It's like a community away from in real life community. So
There's a room for everything, for every single project.
yes, we have a room for everything. Too many rooms, in fact.
There's even a room to ask for more rooms.
Yes, there is.
Yes,
Yes.
the complain about how many channels channel. Absolutely, that's.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, you can start your own. That's actually my own Discord server that I spun up for that. So, yeah, but it's great. I mean, it's a great collaboration. And again, with the video and the audio and the text, you can go back and find stuff and pin stuff. It's like, oh, that's the password for that. Oh, that's how we did that. So, it's a great development tool. It's like, it's basically team programming, remote team programming, and being able to collaborate. Don't have a tape for that?
Okay. Yeah, real quick, just so I don't forget, right? So there's so many people to thank, and I have the credits here in my Google Drive. So, for example, Alan Murphy. Who are the cast, crew, and contributors, the people who help us all the time? And I don't have my glasses on now, I can't see anything. But everybody here, obviously, and Alan Murphy, Bill Noble, Brian Joyce, Brian Weezer, Curtis Boyle, D. Bruce Moore, Danny O'Connor, David Ladd, Eric Canales, Grant Leedy, James Diffendaffer, Jason Reichardt, Jim Brain, Ken Reichardt, Mark Bosley, Mark Oberholzer, Mikey Furman, Mr. Dave 6309, Nick Marentes, Nick Marotta, Paul Fiscarelli, Richard Lorbieski, Rick Adams, Rick Eulin, Rob Inman, Ron Delvaux, Samuel Geim, Sloopy Malibu, Steve Bjork, Terry Steggy, Tom C., and many more. There's so many people that have helped us throughout the years that help us every single day. There's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes because we're doing a weekly 4 average hour show. Even though it still seems like we have no idea what we're doing and we're just literally making it up as we go, there is a lot of planning and coordination, and there's a lot of pieces and a lot of segments. So, for example, Sloopy is handling a new breakout show, and we have the Game On segment, which has been very popular, which Nick Marotta ran for a very long time. But now Ken Waters, who you guys saw in the Nitrous 9 thing, he's handling that. Curtis handles the news. Sloopy does all the timestamps later on, and what that means is that when you watch the YouTube replay later, because it's a 4-hour show, if you want to jump to a particular segment, he's got all the line items with the timestamps there. If you click on that timestamp, it'll jump to that part of the video. Also, because we have the podcast replays, you can scrub through the podcast to get to that part too. So a lot of different pieces, a lot of people to thank on that, but I want to make sure I wanted to grab those because I know we don't have a lot of time left. But
And I just have a couple things here that Curtis wanted to mention. He says that he agrees the community spirit is on the rise, and he's thankful for all the past and upcoming interview guests. And to remind everybody that Dragon Talk 2, live from their fest, will be on the show on November 27th. And that's all I have to say. Anybody else want to?
Yeah, Mr. Dave's the one who suggested the game on segment, which we've taken to another level because now it used to be we would just play the game and send. Yeah. So the game on segment, which is basically we pick a game a week and we get people to play that game. It started off as we'll just send a picture of you playing the game and then we'll go over all the screenshots. Now we're actually playing the game together on Discord collectively. So it's a group gaming session. So the whole connectivity, community, collaborative thing just continues, that bar continues to raise, and it's happening very organically, and it's happening because everybody's coming up with these suggestions, and it just gets better over time. It's an international LAN party, absolutely.
And one other thing, too, I think we need to thank our patron sponsors as well.
And our
too.
patron sponsors, too.
Wouldn't that be a WAN party?
A WAN party, right? Absolutely. Right. And yeah, so we'll wrap it up, but we're here, and the next thing that's going to happen is the live no minimum bid auction. Probably take a brief break for that, and then we'll come back. I think how that's going to run is that we're going to sit in here and look at it kind of QVC style. So that we're going to be having a camera to show you the items up on the screen, but the items won't be in here, so we'll still be able to bid on that. That's going to happen roughly around 3 o'clock. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to Glenside Color Computer Club for 29 years of an incredible event, keeping the spirit of the color computer alive. And we'll be back with the auction after just a few.